Horses in North America by Sarah Jane Bryan. Table of Contents. Introduction. The First Horses, page 3. Chapter 1. Riding into the Americas, page 4. Chapter 2. American Indians and Horses, page 6. Chapter 3. Going West, page 10. Conclusion. Wild Horses Today, page 12. Glossary, page 13. Index, page 14. The First Horses. Millions of years ago, horses lived in the wild forests of North America. They were much smaller than today's horses. They had toes instead of hooves. Quaking in fear, they hid from hungry tigers and bears. Some horses walked across a land bridge to Asia and later spread to Europe. But American horses died out about 10,000 years ago. What mishap killed the horses? No one is sure. But horses returned around 500 years ago. They came with Spanish explorers. These animals shaped the lives of everyone in the Americas. This three-toed hipparion is an ancestor of the horse. Horses helped the Spanish win many battles. Chapter 1. Riding into the Americas. Horses were very important in Europe. So when explorers sailed to America, they often brought these animals with them. Even Columbus took horses on one of his trips. The journey by boat was long and difficult. Many animals died along the way, but those that lived were a huge help to the explorers. The men could move more quickly through the land. Some horses escaped from their owners. Others were left behind when explorers went home. These animals soon grew in number. They spread out across North America. With lots of grass to eat, the Great Plains was a perfect place for them to live. Soon, the number of horses on the plains surged into the millions. Some horses escaped and ran free in the West. American Indians quickly became skilled at riding horses. Chapter 2. American Indians and Horses. With the help of horses, the Spanish conquered large areas of land. But they balked at the idea of American Indians having the same help. So they made a law that said no American Indian could own a horse. But the Indians realized that they were at a disadvantage without horses. They found ways to get these animals for themselves. Some American Indians traded with Europeans to get horses. Others stole the animals. Still others caught horses that ran free on the plains. The Indians learned to ride and control horses. They quickly gained skill. Soon they could ride like the wind and hunt on horseback. Some groups, like the Nez Perce, were particularly skilled. Life on the plains soon changed for these people. Some American Indians decorated their belongings with pictures of horses. Before horses arrived, there were no large tame animals in America. American Indians had to travel by foot or by boat. Some used dogs to carry their belongings. Hunting was difficult. Large herds of bison ran across the Great Plains, but they were too fast to catch on foot. Horses changed all that. Hunters on horseback fared much better. They could easily keep up with bison and kill enough to feed themselves. Many American Indians changed their way of life completely. They stopped farming. Instead of living in one place, they followed the bison herds. They lived by hunting and gathering plants to eat. They used bison skins for clothing and tents. Plains Indians made tents called teepees out of bison skins. American Indians riding on horseback won the Battle of the Little Big Horn, also known as Custer's Last Stand. Horses also helped in war. American Indians who were skilled with horses fought and defeated other Indian nations as well as Europeans. In time, settlers moved onto much of the land where American Indians had always lived. The United States government often broke treaties or peace agreements with the Indians. The result was war. Indian fighters on horseback won many battles. One famous win was the Battle of the Little Bighorn in 1876. Many United States soldiers were killed, including the general leading them, George Custer. General George Custer did not believe that American Indians could win a battle against his soldiers. Chapter 3. Going West. Europeans who came to America spread out over the land. In the beginning, they stayed mostly in the east, but then they learned of the rich farmland in the west, and gold was discovered in California. During the 1800s, the rich land and gold were like beacons. Farm families and miners went west by the thousands. Getting to the west was not easy. The trip took about 6 months. Travelers were tormented by hot and cold weather. They often ran out of food or got sick. Families back home may have lectured the travelers, warning them about the dangers of the trail. But the pioneers would not be held back. They wanted to follow their dreams. The Oregon Trail was the only way to get to California, Washington, and Oregon. The Pony Express delivered mail from 1860 to 1861. People relied on their horses to help them get to the west. Once they arrived, they still needed horses. The strong animals helped them plow the land. Also, horses were the only way to get around. People used them to get to towns where they could buy supplies and get mail. Horses carried mail to and from the east. In 1860, horse-drawn wagons took about a month to deliver mail. Then the Pony Express was formed. Men rode horseback carrying a bag of mail. A rider raced over 100 miles, changing horses often. Then he passed the bag on to another rider. The mail arrived in just a week or two. Wild horses today. Horses are still important in the American West. Most of these strong animals no longer do the hard work they once did. But Western people are proud of their history with horses. If you ever have the chance, visit the open spaces of Nevada. You may hear more than the rustling of wind through leaves. Listen for the sound of hooves thundering across the land. If you're lucky, you may get to see a herd of wild horses. Wild horses live in groups led by a male horse called a stallion. Glossary. Bison. Large hoofed animals that once roamed the Great Plains in large numbers. Great Plains. Large open grasslands in North America where horses thrived. Mare. A female horse. Nez Perce. An American Indian nation from the Great Plains, known for great skill with horses. Stallion. An adult male horse. Teepee. A tent made of animal skins used by American Indians who lived on the Great Plains. Treaty. A peace agreement between the United States government and American Indians. Index. A. American Indians. Pages 4, 6 through 9. B. Battle of the Little Bighorn. Page 9. Bison. Page 8. C. Columbus, Christopher. Page 4. Custer, General George. Page 9. Custer's Last Stand. Page 9. E. Explorers, Spanish. Pages 3 through 4. G. Gold. Page 10. Great Plains. pages 5, 7 through 8. H. Horses and hunting, pages 7 through 8. Horses and war, page 9. Horses early, page 3. Horses wild, pages 5, 12. N. Nez Perce, page 7. O. Oregon Trail, page 10. P. Pony Express, page 11. T. Teepees, page 8. Treaties, page 9. Responding. Target vocabulary. Word builder. A mishap is something that happens by mistake. What other words mean the same as mishap? Copy the web and add more words. Write about it. Text to self. People often had mishaps with horses. Write about a mishap that someone might have had with a horse. Tell what happened and how things were made better. Use words from the web in your writing. Target vocabulary. Balked. Beacons. Disadvantage. Fared. Lectured. Mishap. Quaking. Rustling. Surged. Tormented. Target strategy. Analyze, evaluate. Think carefully about the text and form an opinion about it. Word teaser. Drop the D and this word means something you pay for a ride.